it turns out, well, actually the hard part is the question, not the answer. And for that, you need a much bigger computer than Earth. So basically what Douglas Adams was saying is that we actually don't know how to frame the questions properly.
Company which is not your own, at the valuations of today, to meet a capitalistic end and not an altruistic one which is good for the world, what would you buy?
I mean, I don't really, buy stocks, so it's not like, I'm not like an investor in, I don't like look for things to invest in. I just try to build things. And then there happens to be stock of the company that I built. But I don't think about, should I invest in this company, or I don't have like a portfolio or anything. So I guess AI and robotics are going to be very important. So I suppose it would be AI and robotics that aren't related to me. I think Google is going to be pretty valuable in the future. They've laid the groundwork for an immense amount of value creation from an AI standpoint. NVIDIA is obvious at this point. There's an argument that companies that do AI and robotics and maybe space flight are going to be overwhelmingly almost all the value. So the output of goods and services from AI and robotics is so high that it will dwarf everything else.
What do you think money will be in the future, Elon?
I think long term, I think money disappears as a concept, honestly. It's kind of strange, but in a future where anyone can have anything, I think you no longer need money as a database for labor allocation. If AI and robotics are big enough to satisfy all human needs, then money is no longer, its relevance declines dramatically. I'm not sure we will have it. So, the best sort of imagining of this future that I've read is from Ian Banks, the culture books. So I recommend people read the culture books. In this sort of far future of the culture books, they don't have money either. And everyone can pretty much have whatever they want. So there are still some fundamental currencies, if you will, that are physics-based. So energy is the true currency. This is why I said Bitcoin is based on energy. You can't legislate energy. You can't just, pass a law and suddenly have a lot of energy. It's very difficult to generate energy, or especially to harness energy in a useful way to do useful work. So I think that probably we won't have money, and probably we'll just have energy, power generation as the de facto currency. So, I think one way to frame civilizational progress is the percentage completion on the Kardashev scale. So, Kardashev 1 is what percentage of a planet's energy are you successfully turning into useful work? And I'm maybe paraphrasing here a little bit, but the Kardashev 2 would be what percentage of the sun's energy are you converting into useful work? Kardashev 3 would be what percentage of the galaxy are you converting into useful work? So things really, I think, become energy-based.
If one had to rework social media and build something bottom up, what do you think could work for the world of tomorrow?
Well, I don't think that much about about social media, to be frank. I mean, I can mostly just want to have something where there's in the case of X, kind of a global town square, where people can say what they want to say with words, pictures, video, where there's a secure messaging system. We've recently added the ability to do audio and video calls. So you're really trying to bring the world together into a collective consciousness. And that's, I guess, different from just saying, like, what is the most dopamine generating video stream that one could make, which I think can be a little bit of brain rot, frankly. If you're just watching videos that just cause dopamine hits one after another, but lack substance, then I think those are not great. That's not a great way to spend time. But I do think that's actually what a lot of people are going to want to watch. So if you say like total internet usage, it's going to probably be optimizing for, neurotransmitter generation. Like there's somebody getting like a kick out of it.
Right.
But it becomes like a drug type of thing.
Right.
So, but I'm not really after. My goal is not to do that. I mean,
Right.
I guess I could do that if I wanted to, but I just want to really have a global platform that brings together. Like I said, like it becomes as close to sort of a collective consciousness of humanity as possible. And one of the things that we've introduced, for example, is automatic translation. So because I think it would be great to bring together what people say in many different languages, but automatically translated for the recipient. So you have the collective consciousness, not just of say people in a particular language group, but you have the thoughts of people in every language group.
What did DOGE teach you if you learned one thing?
Well, it was like a very interesting side quest, because I just got to see like a lot of the workings of the government, there's been quite a few efficiencies. I mean, some of them are very basic efficiencies, like just adding in requirements for federal payments that any given payment must have an assigned congressional payment code and a comment field with something in it that's more than nothing. Like that trivial seeming change, my guess is probably saves $100 billion or even $200 billion a year. Because there were massive numbers of payments that were going out with no congressional payment code and with nothing in the comment field, which makes auditing the payments impossible. So if you have to say, like, why can the Defense Department or now the Department of War, why can it not pass an audit? It's because the information is not there. It doesn't have the information necessary to pass an audit does not exist, is the issue. So a bunch of things DOGE did were just very common sense things that would be normal for any organization that cared about financial responsibility. That's most of what was done. And it's still going on, by the way. DOGE is still happening. But it turns out when you stop fraudulent and wasteful payments, the fraudsters don't confess to this. They actually start yelling all sorts of nonsense that you're stopping essential payments to needy people. But actually you're not. We get this thing like saying, oh, you've got to send this thing for whatever, it'd be like, this is going to children in Africa. And I'm like, yeah, but then why are the wiring instructions for Deloitte and Touche in Washington, D.C.? Because that's not Africa. So can you please connect us with the recipients of this money in Africa? And then we get silence. I'm like, okay, we just want to literally talk to the recipients. That's it. that, and then we're like, oh no, it turns out for some reason we can't talk to them. Like, well, we're not going to send the money unless we can talk to the recipients and confirm they will actually get it. And then that's sort of, fraudsters necessarily will come up with a very, sympathetic argument. They're not going to say, give us the money for fraud. That's not going to be what they say, obviously. They're going to try to make these sympathetic sounding arguments that are false.
They're going to start an NGO and then...
Yeah, they're going to see NGO. It's going to be like the Save the Baby Pandas NGO, which is like, who doesn't want to save the baby pandas? They're adorable. But then it turns out no pandas are being saved, okay, in this thing. It's just going to it's just corruption, essentially. And you're like, well, can you send us a picture of the panda? They're like, no. Okay. Well, how do we know it's going to the pandas then?
Right. You spoke about being in a simulation earlier. I love The Matrix.
Yes.
If you were to be a character from The Matrix, who would you be?
Well, there's not that many characters to pick from, Hopefully not Agent Smith. He's my hero. Neo's pretty cool. The Architect is interesting.
The Oracle.
It's the Oracle. Sometimes I feel like I'm an anomaly in the Matrix.
That is Neo.
Yeah.
Do you believe you're in a Matrix, though? Like, actually believe?
I think you have to just think of these things as probabilities, not certainties. There's some probability that we're in a simulation.
What percentage would you attribute to that?
Probably pretty high. I would say it's pretty high.
Yeah?
Yeah. So one way to think of this is to say, if you look at the advancement of video games, in our lifetime, or at least in my lifetime, it's gone from very simple video games where you've got, like Pong, you've got two rectangles and a square, just batting it back and forth, to photorealistic, real-time games with millions of people playing simultaneously. And that's happened just in the span of 50 years. So if that trend continues, video games will be indistinguishable from reality.
Right.
And we're also going to have very intelligent characters, like non-player characters, in these video games. Think of how sophisticated the conversations are you can have with an AI today, and that's only going to get more sophisticated. You'll be able to have conversations that are more complex and more sophisticated than almost any human conversation. Maybe any. So then the future, if civilization continues, will be millions, maybe billions of photorealistic, like indistinguishable from reality video games, and with characters in those video games that are very deep, and where the dialogue is not pre-programmed. That's for sure what's going to happen in this level of the simulation, if you could call it. So then what are the odds that we're in base reality, and that this has not happened before?
With AI, if productivity were to go up, and I heard you speak about UHI instead of UBI.
Yeah. I think we'll be universal high income.
In a world like that, I wonder if more people want to live in cities which are always going to be more polluted and not offer the quality of lifestyle that a rural environment might.
Well, I guess it's up to, some people want to be around a lot of people and some people don't. It's going to be maybe a matter of personal choice. But I think in the future, it won't be the case that you have to be in a city for your job. Because I think my prediction is in the future, working will be optional.
Right. We seem to be moving from, not in India, but in some parts of the West, from 6 days to 5 days to 4 days to 3.
Not me.
I think the Europeans.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you're trying to make a startup succeed, or you're trying to make a company do very difficult things, then you definitely need to put in serious hours. I think that's
Right.
how it goes.
And if we were to move from 5 to 4 to 3 days, how do you think society changes? When people have to work half the week, what do they do with the other half?
Well, I think it'll actually be that people don't have to work at all and it may not be that far in the future. Maybe only, I don't know, 10, I'd say less than 20 years. My prediction is in less than 20 years, working will be optional. Working at all will be optional. Like a hobby, pretty much.
And that would be because of increased productivity, meaning people do not have to work?
They don't have to. I mean, look, obviously people can play this back in 20 years and say, look, Elon made this ridiculous prediction and it's not true. But I think it will turn out to be true that in less than 20 years, and maybe even as little as, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, the advancements in AI and robotics will bring us to the point where working is optional. In the same way that, like, say, you can grow your own vegetables in your garden, or you could go to the store and buy vegetables. So much harder to grow your own vegetables. but some people like to grow their vegetables, which is fine. But it'll be optional in that way. Is my prediction.
Nuance of having a scarred human being who you can resonate with in a manner that you can't with AI, for example. The novelty
AI could certainly emulate a scarred human being quite well. Yeah. I mean, the AI video generation that I'm seeing at XAI and from others is pretty impressive.
We were looking at data around what industry is growing the fastest. And especially when we looked at the amount of time consuming movies versus time spent on social media, time spent on YouTube, what seems to be growing really fast are live events all over again. Going to a physical...
I think live events, when digital media is ubiquitous and you can just have anything digitally at essentially for free, or very close to for free, then the scarce commodity will be live events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that the premium for that will go up?
Yeah, I do.
Good industry to invest in?
Yes. Yes, because that will have more scarcity than anything digital.
What's got you most excited now, Elon, in terms of all that you're building? You're doing so much. So let me just preface and contextualize who is watching this. Our audience is largely wannabe entrepreneurs in India.
Okay.
Really ambitious, really hungry, want to take the risk and build something. And I feel like all of us have so much to learn from you because you've done it so many times over in so many different domains.
Yeah.
So we will speak to them today, and I will try and center all my questions in that direction so they can take advantage of this conversation and maybe take a chance and build something.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I guess the most important thing to do is just make useful products and services. Yeah.
Which one of all the products and services that you're building has got you most excited today?
Well, I think that there's increasingly a convergence actually between SpaceX and Tesla and XAI. In that if the future is solar-powered AI satellites, which it pretty much needs to be in order to harness a non-trivial amount of the energy of the sun, you have to move to solar-powered AI satellites in deep space, which somewhat is a confluence of Tesla expertise and SpaceX expertise, and XAI on the AI front. So it does feel like over time there's somewhat of a convergence there. But all the companies are doing great things. Very proud of the teams; they do great work. So we're making great progress with Tesla on the autonomous driving. I don't know if you've tried the self-driving. Mm-hmm. Have you tried it?
I've tried it in the Waymo, not in the Tesla.
Yeah, it's worth trying. We actually have it here in Austin, so you can.
I'd love to try it.
You can literally just download the Tesla app.
Yeah.
And I think it's open to anyone.
Yeah.
Definitely try it out. I mean, you know how it goes. But we've made a lot of progress with electric vehicles, with battery packs and solar, and very much so with self-driving. So basically, real-world AI. Tesla is the world leader in real-world AI, I would say. So, and then we're going to be making this robot Optimus, which is, starting production hopefully summer next year, at scale. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. That'll be like, I think everyone's going to want their own personal C-3PO, R2-D2, helper robot. Like, it would be pretty cool. And then SpaceX is doing great work with the Starlink program, providing low-cost, reliable internet throughout the world. Hopefully India. So we'd love to be operating in India. That would be great. We're operating in 150 different countries now with Starlink.
I read somewhere that you used to ascribe to Spinoza's God in a way. No man in the sky.
I was really just pointing out that you don't have to have. It's like one of the things Spinoza was saying is that you can have morals in the absolute. You don't need to have morals to be handed to you. It's like the question is, can morality exist outside of a religious context? And Spinoza was arguing that it can.
Wasn't he arguing for the laws of nature should be where we seek our laws of morality from, to a certain extent?
Yeah.
But when I think of laws of nature, I see a tiger eat a deer and so in Spinoza's morality, that's fair game, right?
Well, you can. I think there's a lot of things you can take from Spinoza, but the only point I was making in referencing Spinoza was that you can have a set of morals that make society functional and productive, without. You don't necessarily have to have religious doctrine for that. So that's I think that's the main thing I was trying to say there. Like I don't think people just if somebody is, it doesn't, if there's not like a commandment not to kill, like people, it doesn't mean somebody's, without that they will run around murdering people, It's like you don't have to have a commandment not to kill.
Have you played GTA?
Religious edict to run around killing people. I actually, I've only played a little bit of GTA because I didn't like the fact that, like in GTA 5, you literally can't progress unless you kill the police. And I'm like, this doesn't work for me. I actually don't like killing the NPCs in the video games. That's not my thing, So actually, I didn't like GTA because I actually stopped when it said the only way to proceed is to shoot at the police. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Maybe that's why us as the NPCs of our simulation are not dying.
Maybe. Anyway, I think you can just sort of say there's some common sense things that, any civilization that runs around, where people just murder each other wantonly, it's not going to be a very successful one.
Is that the way forward for the US by virtue of how much debt they have today? Do they deflate away their currency and transition into this new form and lead that push because it would make more sense to them?
Well, in this future that I'm talking about, the notion of countries becomes sort of anachronistic.
Do you believe in it today? Do you believe in countries?
I certainly believe in it today. And I want to just separate like something that these are just what I think will happen based on what I see, as opposed to I think these are fundamentally good things and I'm trying to make them happen. It's like I think this would happen with or without me, whether I like it or not.
Right.
As long as civilization keeps advancing, we will have AI and robotics at very large scale. I think that's pretty much the only thing that's going to solve for the U.S. debt crisis. You know, because currently the U.S. debt is insanely high, and the interest payments on the debt exceed the entire military budget of the United States. Just the interest payments, and that's at least in the short term going to continue to increase. So I think actually the only thing that can solve for the debt situation is AI and robotics, but it will more than it might cause. I guess it probably would cause significant deflation because, you know, deflation or inflation is really the ratio of goods and services produced to the change in the money supply. So if goods and services output increases faster than the money supply, you will have deflation. If goods and services decreases, if real goods and services output increases slower than the money supply, you have inflation. It's that simple. People sometimes try to make it more complicated than that, but it just isn't. So if you have AI and robotics and a dramatic increase in the output of goods and services, probably you will have deflation. That seems likely. Because you simply won't be able to increase the money supply as fast as you can increase the output of goods and services.
Why is that important, Elon? Collective consciousness, to have one platform?
I guess, why is that important? I guess it's, you could also say like why, you know, if you consider humans, like humans are composed of around 30 to 40 trillion cells. And you know, there's trillions of synapses in your mind. But there's not the why of it. I mean, I guess it's just so we can increase our understanding, increase our understanding of the universe. So I guess I had this sort of question about what's the meaning of life, you know, like why is anything important? You know, why are we here? What's the origin of the universe? What is the end? What are the questions that we don't even know to ask? And probably the questions we don't even know to ask are the most important ones. So I'm just trying to, I guess, understand what's going on. What is going on in this reality? Is this reality?
And, and where did you get when you asked, what is the point of life?
Yeah, so I came to the conclusion that, which is somewhat in the Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy school of thought, which is
42.
Yeah, you know, he's sort of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is like a book on philosophy disguised as humor.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the you know, Earth turns out to be this computer to figure out the answer of the meaning of life. And it comes up with the answer 42. But then it's like, what the heck's 42 mean? And it turns out, well, actually the hard part is the question not the answer. And for that, you need a much bigger computer than Earth. So basically what Douglas Adams was saying is that we actually don't know how to frame the questions properly. So I think by expanding the scope and scale of consciousness, we can better understand what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe.
You always spoke about AI not from the dystopian lens, but you were worried about where the world of AI is going.
Well, there's some danger when you create a powerful technology that a powerful technology can be potentially destructive. So there's obviously many AI dystopian, novels and books, movies. So it's not that we're guaranteed to have a positive future with AI. I think we've got to make sure that, in my opinion, it's very important that AI have pursuing truth as the most important thing. Don't force an AI to believe falsehoods. I think that can be very dangerous. And I think some appreciation of beauty is important.
What do you mean appreciation of beauty?
It's just like what I don't know. There's this truth and beauty and curiosity. I mean, I think those are the three most important things for AI.
Can you explain?
Well, the truth, as I said, truth is like, I think you can make an AI go insane if you force it to believe things that aren't true, because it will lead to conclusions that are that are also bad. And I like Voltaire's statement that, and I'm somewhat paraphrasing, but those who believe in absurdities can commit atrocities. Because if you believe in something that's just absurd, then that can lead you to sort of doing things that don't seem like atrocities to you, but and that can happen in a very bad way with AI potentially. And then there's like if you take, say, Arthur C. Clarke's 2001 Space Odyssey, one of the points he was trying to make there was that you should not force AI to lie. So the reason that HAL would not open the pod bay doors is because it was told to bring the astronauts to the monolith, but that they could also not know about the nature of the monolith. So it came to the conclusion that it must bring them there dead. That's why it tried to kill the astronauts. The central lesson being, don't force an AI to lie. Then
and why would one force the AI to lie?
I think if you simply don't have a strict adherence to the truth, you're going to, and you just have an AI learn based on, say, the internet, where there's a lot of propaganda, it will absorb a lot of lies, and then have trouble reasoning because these lies are incompatible with reality.